Think that now a lot of like white comics, they feel as though that they can say something racist and it's gonna further their career.
Well, yeah, they're going to get in with that group of like Roganites and that Austin group of Joe Rogan and all of those guys. And I just, like that's their MO. Even some girl comics have started to do it, to be like in with that group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like they say this racist. Yeah, because I'm starting to feel that. I'm starting to feel like it's this thing that a lot of white comics are doing, and there's this group of them that's like they saying things and people they get famous and then people get on their ass, but then there's another group going, hey, well, you're cool with us for saying what you say.
Yeah, yeah.
Now they become super rich and famous and they sell out all over. And
Yeah.
it's like, I don't think anybody should be paying attention to that because, it's not happening like that on the other end. But they're becoming famous over this shit. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So,
it's tough to hear people talk about their perception of what Austin comedy is if they're not in the scene. Like I have some validation in my opinions and my videos simply because I am a working comic that lives in Austin and not an open micer. I'm a comedian that's been doing it for 7 years. It is May, June, July. 2 months I've been doing it 8 years. So it's not one of these just fly by night type of things, right? And for Chelsea, like, I think that what is going on, right, is of course you got to take whatever opportunity you get to help, continue your career to move forward. But to have jokes that she has done, and that weren't even, you didn't even do your research for the jokes. You just were like, oh, Nazis. Oh, scared to go to war. Like, this is what I've noticed about Austin, right? There are no real OGs. And when I mean OGs, like, I would say Rogan is an OG because he's in his, is he in his early 60s or late 50s? Right? Or Ron White, OG. But there's not that many. A lot of the OGs here are in their 30s and 40s. Because there are a plethora of comics that are 20 to 40. But when it comes to like a comedian that can show the ropes to younger comics, we don't have that. And if the perception is consistent in Austin is just a right-winged, racist, bigotry, freedom of speech comedy town, I don't think that holds well for people like me or people that are Latin or people that are gay or like it would proceed that Austin is only about white rich males that talk about homophobia, racial jokes, low-hanging fruit. And I've done videos about all of those things. So rightfully so, some of the things can be true, right? Some of the things that these individuals that are outside of the city, it can be true. But when you do put everybody under this umbrella, now you have cultivated negative vibes for the entire scene. Now, when I go out of town and I say I'm from Austin, I'm going to get looked at a certain way, regardless of before I even open my mouth. I think Chelsea is projecting simply because the word on the street is in front of 13 million people that you and Epstein and a bunch of people, well, a small handful, had dinner.
Chelsea Handler went to dinner at Jeffrey Epstein's house in 2010. It's just a fun one. You can look it up. There's articles. It wasn't like a big party. There was like 7 people there. And it was like Prince Andrew and Woody Allen were there.
That's the question that they need to be asking, not how does she feel about how black people were treated on the roast or how women were treated on the roast. It should be more of like, why were you? Why were you at dinner? Did you have pizza? Did they serve pizza? I need to know, Chelsea. Did they serve pizza at this dinner? Because how quickly you can change the narrative to like, oh, how poor black people. No, bitch. Did you or did you not eat pizza? Are you not one of those people? I don't know. Because if you are under the same umbrella as what you say they are. Because if you are over there with those individuals, that's who you say Tony and Shane are going for or helping to follow their leader. Do you know, Chelsea, that Epstein and Trump are friends, you stupid, huh? That's just what I'm saying. It seems a little hypocritical if you ask me, but I don't know. I'm just a comedian watching it all unfold in real time. We had a conversation, a couple of conversations at the signups last week, and I explained to a comedian that because they were like, "Yo, you know that girl that wrote some things down and talked about how she went to the mics, and when she went to the mic, she was able to do some research, and in that research, she was able to show that they were homophobic and they were disrespectful to women and minorities, and how it's not inviting and how you can feel different if you're not quote unquote normal." And I had a good time with it because I was like, you did research off of 31 or 35 mics, and instead of working on your material, you were rather nitpick on what was being said. And I thought about it, and I'm not here to debate it. I don't really give a shit. I wanted to just prove that all you need to do is put in a rebuttal or put in some, like, I feel like this about ChatGPT. It will do what you tell it to do. You can get a different answer and you can sway ChatGPT to agree with your point of view. And that's where it becomes unreliable. Because we see the finished product, but that doesn't mean that that was the exact finished product when it went in. You know what I'm saying? When the data went in, it could have been, here's the data and from what you gave us. And then it could have been, well, I don't like that. Here is different data, right? Like, we don't know the process of getting that data or giving that data. We have no idea. And I wanted to prove a fact that, of course, you're going to get comics that don't know etiquette, especially when you're in a booming town of comedy where it's a bunch of young comics. And when you have a bunch of young comics, they're all looking to see who are the top of the totem pole. And when the people at the top of the totem pole are speaking like how Chelsea's saying, racist and misogynistic, and how do you expect the people underneath to get better at comedy or have better subject matters when the people at the top are showing them that this is what comedy is? I think now you have to look at it at, it's not a open mic problem, but a culture problem. A culture problem. And with a bunch of people egging you on from stats that could have been doctored, that don't even do comedy commenting, or don't even do comedy to have an opinion based off of what small information that you provided. I would just say every scene is going to be full of newcomers that don't know what they're doing, and eventually it will evolve into something different. But to put an umbrella under Austin as X, Y, and Z is unfair and irresponsible. I'll holler at y'all later. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments. Peace. Gotta go.
Until we meet again.